What's up, everybody? It's MagicWithRacingNews.com, back for another edition of Dr. Miranda Previews. With me, as always, is my co-host, Dr. Miranda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm sure you see behind me, I'm at the office today. They're like pounding in my basement. We're getting our basement refinished. So I decided to come in the office today to do some handicapping. So I'm excited for the Whitney this weekend, though.
There's nothing like getting paid by one job to handicap horses. I remember fondly doing that for several years. Now that I do this full time, it's not quite as fun. But what is fun is this 5-horse field for the Whitney. Usually 5-horse fields, nothing to really get excited about. But on Saturday, a Grade 1 $1 million Whitney Stakes, a Breeders' Cup winning for the Classic. Arguably 5 of the best older horses in training on dirt right now, Dr. Miranda. I'm very curious to see how you're going to try and parse this apart. I feel like you can smash the all button in your multis. Go ahead and take us through the field and let us know who you're picking in the Whitney.
Yep. So like you said, this is only a 5-horse field, but it is very, very deep in talent. They've all won a Grade 1 stakes minus one of these horses. And anytime you have a girl facing the boys, there's going to be a lot of hype in one of these races. So to start off, we have the number 1 by my standards, who is the longest odds of the field at 10-1, and he is also the horse who has yet to win a Grade 1. He ran the Whitney last year and got second behind, but improbable because the favorite, Tom Satot, had a bad start, and the entire pace of the race was thrown off, and the result was much different than people were expecting. The last race he was in the Met Mile, where he finished a length behind Silver State, who's also in this race. Now, looking back at that race, he didn't get the best trip, and I will argue with anyone that he ran a better race than the winner Silver State, because if you reverse the trips that they both had, I think that by my standards would have won that race. In 2020, this horse seemed unstoppable. He ran 4 back-to-back over 100 buyers. Now, for being 5 years old and winning almost 50% of his races, not to mention won over $2.2 million for his connections, he is a very, very underrated horse in my opinion. Then we're going to go to the number 2 horse, Silver State, who has won 6 back-to-back races, going from an allowance to a G1 Met Mile in June. This horse has been very versatile, with those wins coming from 7 furlongs to a mile and 1/8. He has the over 100 buyers, so he fits in the class of these horses. But like I said before, in the Met Mile, if he would have switched trips with by my standards, I don't think he would have won that race. His type of running style is to stalk, so that could work out a good trip for him, considering that Nick's Go is going to fire out of the gate. But he's going to have to stick very closely if he wants to have a chance to win this race. But to me, I don't think that Silver State is going to win this race. I think he's good, but I don't know if he's that good. Then we're going to go to the number 3 horse. That's my girl. Everybody knows it, Swiss Skydiver, who ended up in this race by accident. She was pointed to the chuvy, spiked a fever, and now ends up here. Kenny McPeak has said that if she wins, he's going to put her in the Jockey Gold Cup next. So to me, I think he's expecting her to run big. Her last race was in the Apple Blossom, where everyone was so excited for her to go back to Monomoy Girl, and they both didn't win. Latruska proved them both wrong. Now, that race wasn't her best. Robbie, of course, gave her a questionable ride. So the fact that Irad is on top of her is very intriguing to me. She likes to be near the front in these races, and that's how she beat Authentic in the Preakness. And I think that's what they're going to do in this race. They're going to try to stick with Nick's Go. I think they're just going to try to hope that Nick's Go is going to wear down. She's been proven at this distance, but she's also been off for 120 days. I think that she was in her prime last year when she won the Preakness, because she was on a 10-month running spree at that point. And so that makes me question her just a little bit. The next horse, of course, is Nick's Go at 6-5. He most recently won a G3 Cornhusker Stakes with an impressive 113 buyer. He also was against not a very strong field, and it was at Prairie Meadows. Before that, he finished off the board at the Met Mile against 2 of these horses who we've already talked about that. Before then, he was shipped out to the Saudi Cup, where he just didn't have enough against that field. Now, this horse is ultra talented, and he has the highest and most consistent over 100 buyers. But if you look back at the 2 races before Prairie Meadows, where he didn't do his greatest, he was also off Lasix. Now, people can argue that Lasix doesn't do a whole lot, but I think that it does with him, and the fact that he's not going to be running with Lasix makes me question here. Now, he's 100% going to be in the lead going around the last turn. But the question is he going to last? Is he going to outkick the horse to his outside, who I'm about to talk about? Now, lastly, we have your number 5 horse, Maxfield. He probably would have been one of the favorites for the 2020 Kentucky Derby, but he was out because of a fracture. He came back in December, and ever since then, he's been amazing. He's won 7 out of his career starts, and each and every race, he just seems to be getting better. His last 2 races were by far his best. He hit a 103 in the Stephen Foster and then a 102 in the Ali Shiva. Now, this is a tougher field, but I think that he is up for it. I think that he's going to stick back behind Swiss Skydiver and Nick Sko and make a move in the stretch. And I think that he likes this longer distance a little bit better than some of these horses. So my top pick is the number 5 Maxfield. I know that it is a very short price, but I do believe that he is the best in here. Underneath, we have to catch a price. You know, I love my girl. So we're going to go an exacta box with Swiss Skydiver and By My Standards. Like I said, who is very underrated. I'm putting them 3 in a trifecta too and just crossing out Nick Sko and Silver State altogether.
Wow, going for the big home run swing with Maxfield over Nick Sko, the favorite. Silver State on that 6-race win streak. You're saying no, chucking them both. Throwing them to the Wolves. Dr. Miranda, thank you as always for taking us through the field for the Whitney Stakes. Good luck to everybody playing. Dr. Miranda, let the folks know at home where they can follow you for all your tips and insight.
At Miranda Bungie.
Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next week.